Anil.
Rummage is about reuse. There is a lot of junk that is produced daily by any average person. So instead of just simply throwing things away, you could reuse them in a creative way. For example, to give you a live example, today's we had sandwiches served to us in the breakfast. So we have made a card holder out of it. This is a very lame example, I guess, but we have more complex examples. So that is what it is about, that we have made this portal so anyone can add stories about reuse. If you have made some innovative designs out of junk objects, then you can add those stories, and like you can see these stories people have created, then you can add a story here.
Okay, what's your project website? You haven't posted it yet? Okay.
And this is basically
You can see the latest stories and
basically tag the story here with the objects.
Okay,
and then
cool.
you can, after the objects are selected, you can either edit them and then submit it.
we have a parser which automatically tags, and you don't have to add tags in the story.
Okay.
Automatically tags the components of the object. Then then if you don't have an object you might need, then you could barter it with other users. So basically users create object profiles, they add pictures of the objects they have, they probably want to dispose of. So they add their details, like show them the object please. So you can see these images of the objects and their details, whatever. It's this weight, this size, any approximation. So when a user wants an object, he or she can search for it, and you can also add things like what do you want for the weight or the length, something like that. So you can make it an advanced search.
Cool, man.
And then we also have a premium accounts for junk dealers. Basically junk dealers have to travel a whole colony to get to a few houses. So to make their job easier, we will be offering them premium accounts, and what it does is basically it has a GIS, so you can see this map. So the junk dealer specifies his locality, and because users have added what objects they have, so we give them the aggregated data of the objects in their locality. They can get the shortest path of going to these houses in their locality.
Okay, I can buy those things.
Yeah.
Not buy, I can take those.
You can take
reuse.
And
So you have an option to buy or sell the used items?
No, it's just barter. There's no money involved.
Partnership, barter system.
yeah.
Okay.
There's no money
Because
involved in it.
it's for the environment. We shouldn't throw things away. We shouldn't. I mean, that would be the current system if we include buy and sell. That would be something that we already do with junk dealers.
Okay. Okay, it's an innovative idea. Cool, man. Thanks a lot. Oh, what's your name, man? Name and your college or something.
I'm Pratik, he's Ishan, he's Ravi, and he's Anuj. We are from Dhirubhai Ambani Institute of Information and Communication Technology, Gandhinagar.
Thanks a lot, man.
JFND, the idea was to actually create a framework on which, do any kind of approach any kind of environmental problem that you have.
Okay.
So what we've instead done is we have created an engine on which you can burn plugins, something like add-ons to any other application.
Okay.
And once you specify the plugins, the engine will basically create a whole map or layout. For example, you have a garbage system.
Okay.
So you have so many places which are sources of garbage. So you basically create a garbage which can be fed into the engine, and the engine will basically find out the best way to
Put the garbage.
No, not put the garbage, and garbage bins, yeah.
Okay.
So there's places to put the garbage bins, so that a minimum number of garbage bins are required, and maximum.
Do you have a demo of this? Can I
Yeah,
see
so
it
you
here?
have a small demo of something like this. This will be really hard to understand.
Here. Okay.
So yeah, you see this. This is basically, it says that there are 9 buildings right here.
Okay.
And these two are basically the dimensions. The first two units are always the dimensions. The third is a number of how many times are you using some plugin, and these are the plugin priorities. So in this case, what is happening is, see, there are these buildings, except for the 5th one. All these buildings are trying to be as close to the 5th building as possible. So when you actually run the system gives you output something like this, which shows you 0 to 5. I mean, indexing wise, the buildings are indexed from 0 to 9.
Okay.
And as you can see, 5 is trying to come as close to the center as possible. So they are trying for, the engine keeps on trying for better.
How did you develop this? On what basis? Developing. How did you develop it? On what basis? Used which languages?
Oh, languages.
Algorithms,
So
yeah.
the basic programming language is currently Java and J#.
Okay.
So the thing is, it's implemented using the Java Bridge in
Okay.
.NET, and the algorithms actually differs from problem to problem. So for something like garbage collection, it's a k-mean algorithm.
Okay.
For something like this proximity, it's a kind of Gaussian distribution that we're using. So,
Cool, man.
Yeah.
So actually the power of the system is in the expandability.
Exactly.
It can solve, or it can do any, it can process any kind of scenarios. Garbage is just one specific scenario.
Okay.
The engine-based approach is basically to deal with any possible scenario. Say,
Any possible environmental scenario?
yeah.
Okay.
So very typical
So
example.
actually, strictly speaking,
We'll use the engine plus some plugin, set of plugins. You want
Say-
something else? Either you get someone
Plugins in the sense, say APIs?
yeah.
it's like APIs, and you can develop anything for it.
The engine
Okay,
is a
okay,
set of
got it.
API, so we have developed an API, so people can use our API to build their own problems. Say for example, there is a Vastu Shastri who wants something to be placed in some sort, so he can write his own function where he gives weights for his theory, so the
Cool, man.
engine would actually give placements according to the Vastu Shastri. So that would be
Okay.
cool.
It's like
It's
open source.
it's like
Everyone, you
open
can share
source
it to
API,
everyone.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot. What's your project name? Do you have a name for it?
Yeah, the name of the project is Footprints. Project
Footprints, okay.
And basically, what we are doing is we're trying to bring a very high impact technology to the masses. You know, last decade we've seen internet revolution.
Okay.
Last full decade is about Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, all of these
Okay.
companies. You know, information coming to you. You're blogging. You said you're a good
Yeah,
blogger.
yeah,
so
yeah.
the fact is that information is exploding.
Yes.
That was last decade.
Okay.
This decade, what is happening is everyone is participating. All of us are blogging. All of us are going on YouTube, uploading videos. All of us are participating on Dig. All of us are participating on Flickr, posting pictures. Even open
Okay.
source has come about. We're even coding together.
Yeah.
So all of this is like people are participating in everything. So we thought about how can we bring this participation to do something good for the environment. So basically what we did was we noticed two simple things that okay, people are participating. There are a lot of things. You have friends. You go to Facebook, for example. You have friends. You have communities. You have many things. But one thing missing there is environment. You
Yeah.
don't have anything about environment.
Okay.
So that is one aspect. which
That's the
we
theme
thought
of the Imagine Cup, right?
Yes, that is the theme
Okay.
of the Imagine Cup. So basically, that is our aim, that is our inspiration, and this is one of the things that we noted down. The second thing was that in today's world, we are all consumeristic. We purchase products like these, we use
Okay.
them and we throw them. And these products don't get produced just like that. They have a footprint, they have a carbon footprint associated. When this was created, it has polluted the environment to some extent.
Okay.
Right. So in today's age, people are not worried about all these things. They're just buying, using, throwing. So it's sort of building up an unsustainable consumption practice.
It's not recycled.
Yes,
That's what you say.
we call it cradle to grave mentality.
Okay.
So we
And what is
take
it?
Cradle to grave mentality.
Okay.
Take it and we put it in a grave.
Okay.
It's not adding something new to it. So what we wanted to do was increase the life cycle of the products. What we defined something as the life cycle of products. The product is created
Life cycle of the.
of any product.
Okay, any product. Okay.
Any
Okay.
say this. Right, this product was
product. Okay.
created, we purchased it, we used it, and we discarded it. This was the life cycle.
Okay.
So if we can extend this life cycle, if everyone can extend it, it will lead to a more.
I mean, reuse the same laptop,
Yes.
not the same laptop, I mean the model or
We'll
something.
just come to it.
It's not just about reuse, it's kind of adding meaning to the
Yeah, we'll get to it. Yeah, so this is just a slide about all the technologies that we've used.
Okay, can I get your slide? Okay, security.
Okay, so basically what we have is these are the clients for which we built up our interface. We've got mobile interface, we've got the client interface, you can see these two, and these are the servers. Basically what we're doing is we are having something called as a server farm so that the load can be distributed on server. Okay, all of that is fine. And then next, what happens is both of these are connected through web services. So web services are the vital link between this, and so you see XML in the background. So that is the communication interface that we're using. And the tools that we've used. Some things not mentioned here, Silverlight, a very important tool which we use, Silverlight 1, Silverlight 2, WPF, we've used all of those. We use Popfly, one of the latest Microsoft technologies. One small disappointment was Silverlight has not yet been released for mobile platform.
Mobile phones, yeah.
After the second quarter of this year, they said they will release it for the mobile platform.
Okay.
So that happens, we could actually port this
So you're
entire
waiting for
thing.
that, okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
We were actually hoping it would be done before the final so that we could show it. We got STC Touch with us, but
Okay, that's sad.
unfortunately. Anyways. So the components, obviously .NET, that's like the standard programming environment. Then we have at the back end what we call as a grid. A grid is basically a set of PCs which are working together, so that load is balanced, data is balanced, data is stored in a distributed manner. All the products. I mean, you can imagine millions of users logging in, millions of products. So it does not. A centralized system will not work. So we are using a distributed system. Distributed meaning every load is
the resources are distributed, right?
Yes. Now this is something which is coming up now. You see multi-core PCs, you see 2 cores coming up. It will come up gradually. But these are tightly coupled machines. We are talking about loosely coupled machines called grid, which is separate machines kept together.
Got it.
So we use something called as a manager-executor framework, which is one kind of. I can show you a small demo of that later. Okay. Apart from that, we're using artificial intelligence. I'll tell you how sometime later. Interfaces, we built Opfry as it. We'll come to it when I show the demos. We built a Silverlight demo. We built one for the mobile. We built one website. We built one gadget for Vista platform, and of course the Vital web service, which is linking the users to our platform.
Now, how is it connected to your environment stuff?
What environment?
This thing, the sustainable environment.
So this is the architecture diagram. Obviously the web service. So. Okay, so what we do
Just curious.
we
Okay, talk about your product.
We basically, here it is. We basically have 5 major components of our products. I'll recap what I talked about. This product, we are purchasing it.
Yeah.
We are making a decision while purchasing a product. So that is what Eco Choice is about.
Eco Choice.
You make a choice while purchasing products, all right? And we want you to make an ecologically sound choice, environmentally informed choice. Because right now you go to buy a car, you don't know the footprint usage of each car. You don't know how much CO2 emissions will be done by every car before you buy it. So if we can provide this information, you can make an informed decision when you purchase a car.
Okay.
For example,
It's like awareness to the customer.
awareness to the customers. Yes.
Okay.
That's one part of it. Second part is eco-consume. This is when you bought a product and you're consuming it. You're consuming it and you're writing down your experiences with this product so that others can benefit by it. For example, I purchased a car, I used it and I realized that I made a bad decision.
Okay.
It's producing too much of smoke. So I blog about it, I write somewhere about it, and others while purchasing their car will know that this is not a good choice.
Cool.
So that's eco-consume. Eco-footprints, each product has a footprint. This product has, say, released X units of CO2 while being produced. I use this product very often. I purchase this product every year. So I am responsible for so much of
Amount of CO2 released to the
the
environment. Okay.
So my personal footprint, that's called a personal footprint. This is a product footprint. We'll come to that next. Eco maps, we'll come to it step by step. Eco choices. So what we've done is one second. Before we go to the demo, I'll just explain what we do. What we do is we have something called as rating for each product. Now the rating, there are 2 kinds of ratings. Pre-production ratings, which is given by the companies. We don't trust the companies. Every company will say their product is the best.
Yeah.
So what we have is a user review. It's like a community review. On your blogs, you put polls, you put lots of stuff. So people vote for the product depending on their use, how they felt about it. Because users are people who will be using it. So you can trust them. Because a user will not lie about a product if he's using it. So that's called an intelligent. Now, why is it intelligent? What we've done is we take reviews from people, but the review is localized to your area and to your age group. We
Cool,
use a weighted mean
It helps me a
according to
lot.
your age and according
It helps
to your
me a lot.
age. Yeah, exactly. Because see, different people have different choices.
Views, different culture, yeah.
This will sort of help us in that. Apart from that, now we'll show you the demo. We'll show you a small demo for a few products which we've done. So this is after logging in, choices. So this is, for example, you want to buy a car. You click on the car, you get all of these things, right? Now, videos, what are videos called?
Okay, what are these bars and all?
That is, users have rated how it is, how...
Reviews?
Yes. Reviews in the sense they've rated it on a numerical scale, and this is the output of the review that you're
Okay,
getting.
can we also view the reviews and what is stories? View stories?
Yes, we will come to it. I'll show you all of it. For example, if you
know about the CO2 footprint?
we will come to it step by step. First, we'll show you the pre-production videos. So if you click on this, there is some video that the company has released about it, but every company doesn't release a video about its product. But if you go to YouTube, you'll find a hell of a lot of videos about anything and everything, and it is tagged very well.
Yes.
So if you want to find a video about the Sony Handycam, you just go and type on YouTube Sony Handycam, you'll get lots and lots of videos about Sony Handycam. So what we can do is, YouTube is one thing, Soapbox is another thing. A lot of these, networking sites where we can get all of these videos from the users and put it here. So that is what we
you
wanted
get
to do.
videos from users?
Yes,
from all
users upload
From
their
where?
own videos. From YouTube, from Soapbox,
Okay,
from all of
you
these
search on
sites.
YouTube,
Yes.
I mean your engine, whatever
Yes.
website, okay.
Yes. and we get videos like this which basically help you in making a better decision about the car. You don't want to see the videos the company has told you about, because each company will paint a beautiful castle out of its own
Okay, it's
image.
directly from the user.
Yes. So this is one part of it. Second part, you want to view the reviews that this car or this class of cars are getting. Now this is fetching it live from the net right now. If you see, we're getting it from a website live, and these are all the reviews that we've seen by scanning through, Dig, all of those blogs. Anybody has written anything about this car, you can see it here. We assimilate all the
Search
information.
on the internet.
We search on the
On the
internet.
internet, we're using an intelligent mechanism to aggregate data also. It's not like just a live search. You can do
This
it.
is really cool, man.
You can just
Right, so what we do is, see, for example here, future cars, hybrid cars, there's something we found about it on the net. We got a huge article on it. We combined and we took the essential parts of it and gave a small demo of it. We gave a small
Okay, if we
overview
click
of
on
it.
read more, it goes.
So this is basically a semantic analysis we've done of the entire big article. You don't want to copy paste everything here, otherwise you are not going to read it, nobody is going to read it. So we will compile it and we will show you a compressed part of it. You can click on read more and you'll go to the exact site where it came from.
Yeah, okay.
Alright, I don't want to do it now because it'll open on the window.
Okay.
You can go to as many as you want. There are many things which are fetched, almost infinite. Few things which we can work on, ranking of these reviews.
Ranking.
That we've
Right
not
now
yet
we're
worked
working
on.
on that.
So we're still working on that.
We're going to release an update.
So you can see it. I mean, this is live from the net right now. We've not copy pasted and
This
stored
is
it.
not simulated data.
Is it open to the web right now?
Yes.
Right now?
It is
Yeah,
exactly
this
from
is
the
not
net.
simulated.
No,
This
no,
is
no.
not-
Can I access the web?
Yes.
Can I access your website online right now?
No,
We have a URL.
not
No,
that.
we have put up the web service.
We have put up the web service here.
This
and
data
we
is
are
not
collecting.
simulated. This data is real and live. It can change. You write a blog, it might show.
Yeah, you can do that.
I can
You
do
can
that.
write a blog
Yeah, sure.
on your own and you can
Imagine
see it
Cup.
coming
Yeah.
in. Yes. So okay, all of these reviews will
For
come.
example, you can write, I'll open my this thing, cell phone, you write a review and I'll show your review being shown here.
We can do that.
We can if you have the time.
Is your
Samartha.
engine condensing it to a summary or is
Yes,
that
we are.
okay?
We're not
You can
actually
write a
condensing
review.
each entry into a summary. We're condensing similar entries into one.
Into one.
So that is what we're
The
doing. Okay,
next
anyways,
algorithm will be that because that's
we'll-
tougher algorithm.
Because that
That's a much tougher.
Okay, is this your homepage? Because I can.
This is not a home
this
page,
is
this
what
is a
would come on a
mobile
mobile.
application we have
The
developed for
moment
Silverlight.
Silverlight is released for a mobile platform, this will be ported on a mobile.
Okay.
So now the next part of it.
This is the fun.
This is a fun part. What we want to do is, I'll give you a very small example.
Alright.
Okay, just listen to the example. In today, right now, IPL is a very crazy thing. Indian Premier League.
Yes.
You saw yesterday's match.
yeah.
Very, very close night.
Okay.
It was between
Chennai versus.
Chennai and So what we do is, for example, say this guy goes to the match, alright?
Okay.
He witnesses a very historic match. He buys a T-shirt in memory of that match, right? Now he's proud of that T-shirt because it reminds him of that match. It has value, some value,
Okay.
right? He wears it proudly for some time. Now he overgrows that T-shirt, but he doesn't want to throw that T-shirt off. Why? Because it has a special value attached to it. So he writes reviews. There's a blog for this T-shirt essentially. So he writes about the T-shirt, he writes about what his experiences were, and he doesn't want to throw it. He gives it to a second-hand store, right? If he doesn't want to use it, he gives it to a second-hand store. Now, when somebody and we're also assuming a high-tech world where every product is encoded with an RFID tag or a barcode tag.
Okay.
So that is our primary assumption. So
RFID, yeah.
without that, the supply chain is essential for this. So if he's done that, and if tomorrow say you come to the store, you take our product on the mobile and you scan all the RFIDs, you come across this product. The story from the blog is fetched dynamically, and you can see the stories.
How
You
he
are
used
I can actually browse through location.
yes.
Yeah,
we
this
will come
can-
to it. Yes, it is.
I can see the map here.
He comes to the front.
Yeah. So basically, see if I click on this.
Now this is stories related to a product.
This is a product, and this is the story related to it. It's
Is
going
it
to
the
be released
review?
in
Is it the
2020.
review or is it just a story?
It's a story
It's a
type.
story.
About the
It's a
product.
story.
Okay.
A
Got it.
user has written a story about this product on his own experiences on that product.
On the, okay.
Some-
You
Cool.
might be amused by it. You
It's
might be
not a
amused by
review.
it. You
Yeah.
might.
Yeah.
It might
You
influence
might
your
write
decision.
that just some cheeky, something was like gifted to you by your girlfriend. You just picture
Okay.
and you put it on Flickr. We are getting this data from Flickr.
Straight from
And we have
Flickr.
integrated with virtual.
You've
This
used
is again live data. This is again live data. We are fetching it from Flickr.
This is. It's all live. So basically, what we're showing
using our
is.
algorithms to get the location and get the
We're using
data of that.
geotagging
Now
techniques.
you might be
Look at virtual.
you might be asking why we are doing this. What we have done is by doing this, it has added value to the product. Don't you feel so? I mean,
Yes,
if you
of
give a
course.
product a life,
No,
adds
you're
value
also
to it.
you're also helping the user to buy a best
Yes.
product.
Yeah, best
And in that
Eco-friendly
process,
product.
in that process, the affinity between the product and user is so great that he doesn't want to throw the product. He wants to keep using it. It's like a small baby, sort of. You don't want to throw it, you don't want to build garbage, you don't want to contribute to consumption or unsustainable practices. So this is helping sustainable consumption. That is...
Maybe you'll not get attached to a Coke can, but maybe to a car or
Yes.
a motorcycle.
Yeah, so
Such
there are
things.
many pictures here. You can go through all of them.
And this is also again live data. This is not simulated data. If you again put your picture here, I'll fetch it.
So all of these stories are right there.
Nice
for
car.
you to see. Alright, so I'll be closing this now. So this was about most of it.
Okay.
Gaurav, show the map. Okay, so this was...
Now we'll come to the recycling.
Alright, so this was all about all the things that I spoke about. This was while making a choice when you're purchasing a product.
All right.
Next is about consuming a product.
Okay.
When you're consuming it, you might want to recycle it, you might want to resell it, and you might want to capture and share stories. Again, I've shown you about all of these things.
Okay. What's your
Right.
project name again?
Footprints.
Footprints. Okay. Thanks a lot.
We are Green Waves. I'm Shobit Sinha.
Aadhar Mittal.
Okay.
Gagan Singh. And Sandeep Bansal.
Okay. What's your project name?
It's Aura Contra.
Okay.
So,
It's your- Okay.
very vast, diverse. So we observed there were two problems. First, well, everybody is so aware of environmental problems internationally. We have international guidelines, rules, regulations, laws, municipal corporations, all of that, but still the problem is still there. Why? Two problems. First, we as users are ignorant. We don't go ahead and complain about problems. See a garbage around, anything we see, we know it's an environmental problem, but we don't go ahead and complain because we're too busy. Second problem, even if we do, some of us do go ahead and complain. The agencies today are so sluggish that they don't respond back. So these are the two solutions, two problems we try to focus upon. First, using our application, you can register your grievances in a single button push.
Okay.
That is, you give us the image, you find anything intriguing, give us the image, capture the image and send it to us. That's it, guys, that's it. Finding what the category it belongs to, finding the location, finding which authority to, forward the grievance to. Then also if we find that your problem is serious enough, we're going to build a public opinion around it and also force the agency.
The user can post reviews on that.
Yeah, exactly. More than
Okay.
that, I'll tell you what. First, well, the interfaces. We have a lot of diverse interface. So no matter who as a user you are, you can post a grievance. You have a mobile phone camera with GPS, easiest for us. Send the picture, that's it. We're going to capture the location. We're going to work around that. You don't have a GPS, no problem. What we're going to do is, you have a GPS connection. We're going to find, using Microsoft Location Server, we're going to track down your position. We're going to download the area map for that particular location. So you can pinpoint this is exactly where my problem is. So again, we know.
Problem related to environment, whatever it is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, the third way, you don't want to use GPS connection, downloading maps, you can do it manually, like fill the address sent to us. Now, today we know GPS is expensive today in India. You want to use that also, what you can do is save it as a file, go back home, all that you have to do is upload it on the net.
Okay.
So that's the thing. Not only that, you don't have a mobile phone with a camera, mobile phone at all. So you can SMS access that.
Okay.
Not only that, well, we observed slums, people are the actual people who are living the most shit, they don't have means, they can clean up.
Okay, I upload all the information. So how are you going to solution? What's the solution for the grievances?
First, may I complete the slum portion?
Yeah, sure.
Interface for them is the iVirus, because they don't have access to websites, they can do that. How do we do it? Well, we're going to forward to the NGOs. We're going to forward to the authorities also, municipal corporations also, but that's not all. I talked about two problems. The second problem was that these agencies do not bother about these things. How are you going to do it? Well, Indian laws are going to help us out with that. Section 65A and 65B makes email and all other storage record as a valid evidence. So in case we've communicated a problem to the agency, is not responding back, we can go to the court, we can file a writ petition, we can file an RTI and all that. That is not all again, guys. We still thought it's still too indirect. You post a complaint, comes to the server and all that. So there are two things to fasten all these things. First, the image recognition module. We didn't ask for the user to give us the category in the beginning. So using the image recognition module, we try to find out what category belongs to land, air, water, traffic. If you're not able to do it,
Using image recognition.
exactly. Now AI is not always perfect, as we all know. It's not 100% accurate.
It is not the picture, but when you
Coming to that, AI is not always perfect. Besides, we can have things in other formats also, text description also. Then it's going to be forwarded to our volunteers. We will have to do it manually. Not only that, even that, fastening up that a little more. What if the users are not online when the grievance is reported?
Okay.
So if it's a text message, what we're going to do it, we're going to text to speech it. Then we're going to place a call to the user, to the volunteer. He will listen that description on his mobile phone, give us the feedback right on his mobile phone without coming to the internet.
That's cool.
That's we can, if you want, we can show you the call which is placing.
Okay.
This is the SMS. How do we build the public opinion, guys? For that, SMS, we interact a lot with our users. SMS, this is the application generated SMS.
Okay.
So you can see also the name of our
Aura.
solution, Aura Contra. I also have it here, right here. So if you want to see it, I can show it to you.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, we're using internet for all of this. This is a paid facility.
Okay, is this your website right here?
Yeah. You want to see the call?
Okay, can you just demo it to me?
Yes.
Because I'll play the demo of call flow.
Yeah, listen the call for the text to speech thing I talked to you guys. Listen that.
So if I send a text, if I send a text, it's going to speak.
Exactly. Yes. We're going to place a call for example. I have the
got it.
user come to me. This is the recording.
Okay.
That is the recording. To bring
Okay.
the automated voice. I speak from there. I'll come to the text to speech part first.
Smoke plays over the area and sometimes it's dense. It's damp as bright sunlight at 2 in the noon.
Okay.
This is the second
So
story.
someone sent an SMS to you and you're converting it to speech.
This is the second story, I think.
You're
This
going
one.
to send it back to?
Yes. Then you can give feedback on the mobile phone. Press the keys 5 for the maximum criticality, 1, 2, 3, 4, and all that.
Okay.
You got the criticality.
Basically, we send these IVRS calls to users who live in that locality.
Oh,
So we are
based on
using
locality.
locality of reference. So we are using locality.
Okay, cool.
So basically, user who is living in a locality, he knows that the problem is genuine or not. So basically, he is the one who can tell us about the genuinity of the problem. So we try to call the user and
feature for text to speech.
Sorry?
Like there might be some people like who don't know English or who don't know that.
Well,
Language.
that
there is
is
an option for Hindi and English, but currently we are supporting text to speech in English only.
that is the future enhancement we propose. Yeah.
Update.
Yeah, exactly. This side show him the demo of the website. Well, we recorded the GPS location. You can see the GPS location, the virtual maps over here. You can upload
Have you
videos.
used Pocket PC SDK?
Yes, exactly.
Cool, man.
This is the captioning for you. Show him the videos and all. Okay.
No, this is the garbage or something.
This has just been posted. Okay.
But some user
There is an
sent it
image
to you.
recognition. You can see that there is a category associated. So this category, the photograph is put in the
What
category
are these
automatically.
votes?
So this is a voting system. We have a voting system.
Okay.
Like once a user has authenticated a story, we increase the vote. So once
Okay.
a problem has reached a certain level, we try to complain to the authorities and
Exactly. And that is how we build public opinion. That's how we identify some real serious problem. Using all our mobile phone users base through SMS and all, we're going to build a real public opinion, a whole revolution around it.
Cool, man. Interesting.
so you can see that the problem has automatically been categorized in AI
And the location
because of image categorization.
The image recognition.
Yeah. See,
So you have developed
we
the
just-
image recognition.
Yeah.
Based on
We
that, it
just-
has tagged it.
So yes.
Based
Yeah.
on that, it has tagged it, right?
Yes.
The image.
So
Okay.
you can see the location also associated. Like
Oh, you used virtual earth.
Yes. Right. Need some time to upload.
You're running on low connection, I think. Low bandwidth.
Till then, show him the video. You can see the videos.
you can also upload videos.
View them, rate them.
Is there any video recognition? No.
Well,
Actually,
Just kidding.
there is a video recognition.
Okay.
Actually, it's not.
give them the video.
It's so like we just take a thumbnail from in between the image and we try to recognize it. At least that's better than nothing.
Yes, yeah. It's better than nothing.
So this is the video. You can watch it over here. You can register us. The moment you receive an
Show me how will you contact the NGOs or the authorities?
Actually,
How will you contact them?
that module has not been built.
Okay.
We don't have the addresses of NGOs and authorities. So
basically, you're going to send them emails, which have the attached images,
and
videos.
we can make voice calls to them, automated voice calls. Like this problem has reached a criticality level.
First thing is this, right? Yeah, that's cool, man. Thanks a lot.
We first need an interface.
Okay.
The backend can
We have done our job. The agencies have to respond on this. Still, like Delhi Municipal Corporation.
You will get it, man. You will get it. Contact government. Don't worry. Thanks a lot, guys. Do you want to talk? Yeah.
Most of the things have been built. Only some parts have been left out.
Okay.
Yeah, to boast upon that, I'll show you our architecture. In the round 2, when we showed it to the judges, they were like, "Whoa, man, are you going to build all this?" And then we said, "Of course, sir, why
Like
not?"
we have built most of the things here.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a notification, the web services are working.
Wow, cool, man. Cool poster.
SMS, giving to the volunteers, call flow, BT, web services. Feel good.
Okay.
IERF is working.
Okay.
So only some part is not working. The authority
Okay, this
part.
is what I asked. NGO, authority, society. Okay, you're working on that right now. Cool, man. Thanks a lot, guys.
Exactly. I'll start off with an introduction of ourselves first. My name, we are Team Scan.
Okay.
He's Samit Singh.
Okay.
Karun AB.
Okay.
George. I'm Noel Singh.
Okay.
And our product is called Empower.
Empower. Okay. Empower.
What happens is when you have computers, when you leave them, you usually leave them on idle. So once you just leave them like that, essentially you're wasting a lot of power.
Computer wastes almost half the power that's delivered to it because power settings are not configured properly.
Okay.
What we do is in a client server architecture on a Windows domain network, we have a .NET 2.0 app,
okay,
which basically changes power settings on all the different computers in the network.
Okay, the whole network. If I have a company, the whole network.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And it's one centralized application.
Okay.
When it's
it
not
runs on the server.
distributed
It runs on the server.
Yes.
I can access it.
Exactly. Yes.
Sitting at the client.
Yes. And we change power settings on all the clients via that app. So what this essentially does is it translates into huge power savings for the organization. And power savings mean direct financial incentive. Now, given the theme is the environment, it is difficult to come up with a solution that does not require the customer or the client to have a social conscience.
Okay.
But we don't require our clients to do so.
Okay.
We offer them direct financial incentive. In addition, all the power saved basically translates directly into reduced CO2 emissions. So what this essentially means is you're contributing in a big way to the environment, and the data that we collect, which says you saved so much power, once standardized and say approved, certified by an authority, can be used in exchange for say carbon credits. So this is an amazing system. Because it's two-pronged benefit, financial incentive as well as probably carbon credits or corporate social responsibility.
Okay, how exactly the technology works? I mean, what exactly the details of power saving and stuff? I mean, how much power is saved, percentage, or exact details?
Right now, we've not deployed it on any network as such.
Okay.
We've deployed it on our network, our test network here. So we don't have stats for any organization as such. But there are other such apps.
Okay,
right
now, can you demonstrate it?
Yeah, sure.
That's a server. These three are clients, right?
This is the XP client.
Have a look at this XP client.
See, this is the come. This is the XP client, and we've got another Linux client there.
You can see the power setting here. I set it to say always on.
Okay.
And this computer is essentially bleeding power because it's always on.
Yes.
Okay, so let's say I log off here.
He logs off, and
now have a look at our server app. What we're basically doing is monitoring for any activity on the network. Whenever clients log on.
Okay. We can see that.
Yeah. Sure. We're going to log on onto this client now.
So the client actually sends a message back to the server telling it that the person is logged on. In return, there'll be a notification soon, and the server will send back the power settings that are there for that particular group.
Oh, okay. It's going to send the power settings of this client.
Of this client, yeah. Yeah, done.
Okay, got it there. Okay.
Client logged on, and the power settings
have been applied.
So you come here.
So you can see here in the properties now that the power settings will be changed.
Drill down to your power settings.
Oh, PS1, yeah.
Yes.
Before that it was always on.
Always on.
And essentially, the way we create power settings is we do not use the groups that have already been defined in Active Directory. We create logical groups. So the server admin can actually create groups of users according to his needs in his organization. Say he can create a separate group for shop floor computers, a separate group for the HR department, a separate group for
you can set different power settings for that specific group.
Yes, exactly. He can look at what the client needs and accordingly set up.
Okay, what is this?
This is the place where you actually set up the power settings.
Control panel, is it?
This
of sorts.
This is the grouping area.
Okay.
This is the list of all the users and all the machines registered inside your network. Where you view is completely customizable. So these
what are these? Test 1, test? These are the users.
These are all users inside this organizational unit.
Okay, for this organization, you need to specify the power setting. You have specified
This is simply a list that has been retrieved from the Active Directory.
We don't want to do it for OUs as such because that may not be optimum.
Okay,
we want to allow the server admin to create his own groups.
Oh.
So now he can drag users into groups which he creates.
This is a power group of its own. It's completely independent of the groups that are listed here.
So you can
essentially drag.
It's customization, right?
Yeah, exactly.
To the server admin.
Yes. And
So
now,
he's dragged new
now he can apply power settings to individual groups itself. So that way you can have different settings for different
Now he
groups of
has
people.
his groups. You can
create new power settings as well.
Create a new power setting here, give it a name, and save it. And you can apply it to a specific power group.
That's cool, man. This is innovative, actually. Really innovative. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Okay, just
Yeah.
Okay, this is our application, Eco E-Governance, and through this we are trying to solve the existing problem of pollution in our country. Now, what we have done
Okay, is this your PPT?
Yeah, this is the
Okay. Okay. Yeah, right.
So this pie chart basically shows the contribution of different sectors to pollution in India, and as you can see that electricity as well as industry are two of the major contributors. Through our application we are basically targeting these two blocks. Now what is our solution? Our solution is called Eco E-Governance. It will be a tool by which the government can involve the general public in the war against environmental pollution.
Okay.
Eco E-Governance has two parts. One is a sound taxation system that aims at achieving a sustainable environment, and the other one is an awareness generating tool. The taxing scheme can be further divided into eco tax and green credits, as the awareness generating tool is our Eco E-Governance website.
Okay, awareness for users. I mean, public?
Yeah, for the public.
Okay.
Because we are trying to impose a taxing system. So before that, there should be some kind of a platform.
Okay.
And even afterwards. So in order to make a proper taxation system, we first studied the existing environmental taxation systems around the world. For instance, the systems in China, Colombia, Central and Eastern Europe, Malaysia. And what we found is all these systems have two common flaws. Firstly, all these systems are decentralized, and secondly, the monitoring system for industries, which forms the basis of environmental taxation, was crude and inefficient. This is the taxing scheme that we propose. It has two modules. I mean, we'll be taxing at 2 points. We'll be taxing the industries for the pollution that they are causing during manufacturing processes, and this will be calculated through an industrial audit. And we'll be taxing the consumers for the usage of certain special products whose usage can lead to pollution. Now, what will be the problems in implementing such an eco-tax system in a developing country like India? Firstly, since monitoring of industries forms the basis of taxation, that will become a problem because right now there's no proper monitoring of industries in India. And secondly, there's a lack of trained officials to do that. And thirdly, there is a lack of public awareness and support. To overcome these problems, in order to give a sound monitoring system, we have developed an auditing tool that helps in auditing the different industrial processes. And in order to increase public participation in this entire endeavor, we're going to promote our Eco E-Governance website that we have designed. While designing an auditing tool, we found that such an auditing tool has to be highly industry specific because each industry has different types of processes, emits different types of pollutants. So right now what we are going to demonstrate is an auditing tool that has been developed for the tire industry, keeping in mind its requirements, keeping in mind the pollution that it is causing. My teammate will be explaining the working of that software. Here the company will enter his company name and his ID. Once logging in, he has to select a quarter. The auditing will be done on a quarterly basis. first he selects a quota. Now, as you can see, mixing, tire building, extrusion, curing are the different processes in a tire industry which involves pollution. So here he has to log in into his department. Here he has to enter the quantities of these pollutants emitted.
So you're going to compare this to the standard?
So we are not going to compare.
Then?
We are just going to tax on the amount of pollutants he is emitting.
Okay. So how is it going to change the sustainable environment? How is it
Yeah,
related
we
to
will
that?
just explain the whole
Okay,
thing and then
okay,
maybe
okay.
you can ask a question. Just say 9 for example.
Okay.
On clicking submit, this data will be added into his database. Likewise, the other department officials will enter the quantities. Okay. Now we also taking inputs like the electricity meter numbers, the quantity of the different types of fuel used,
All right.
and his air travel details. Employees. Yeah.
Okay.
On clicking submit data, the application will use a web service to calculate the eco tax of that particular industry in that particular quarter.
Net is slower, right? Net.
I think
Logging again.
mixing, carrying, extrusion, tire building and curing, and the amount of eco tax for each process and the total eco tax for the particular quarter. On clicking report, he will get a complete environmental report. Now we tax him only for the emittance that he is emitting in for the pollutants that he is emitting in the air. But we also take in general details like the number of flights and the fuel usage, just to give him a complete environmental report.
All right.
So this is how a whole audit system will work. As you can see, this is how our whole application will work. The other module of our taxing system is to allocate green credits to the general public. Green credits will be points that will be given to public in order when they participate in environmental friendly activities like carpooling and campaigns.
Okay.
It's basically to increase public participation in such activities as well as public awareness regarding such activities. So they can later on encash these green credits for tax benefits. Now my teammates will be explaining that how exactly we authenticate the entire process and how the modules work.
Basically a way to organize centralized campaigns all over the country. Now in order to take part in any of the campaign activity, the citizen first needs to log in. For the general public at personal level is a problem. Hence we developed a software which companies will use to keep a record of their employees who are taking part in the carpooling activity. The company official first needs to log in. Once he logs in,
here is the self-sustaining nature of our application. The eco-tax which is collected from various industries by the government is used as revenue to generate green technology, which in turn would provide benefits to the industries and its consumers themselves. As a future extension to our project, we intend to implement a green credit card system.
What is this? RFID?
Basically, green credits will be earned by people by participating in eco-friendly activities.
So encouraging them to be eco-friendly. That's what you're
Yes.
talking. Okay.
Giving them some benefits for saving the environment or something. So basically, they can use these green credits through the green credit card to purchase items from an online eco shop.
And this is cool.
This our
Innovative.
project will kind of infuse an environmental.
Oh, we have a green card here. Okay, it's cool. Okay.
So our project basically affects a large portion of our population to achieve the objective of a sustainable environment and making the environmental concern more of an integral part of our culture rather than a regulation or a compulsion among the people.
This is cool, innovative. Thanks a lot, guys. All the best.
Thank you. Team Novasir work.
Project Kalpavriksha. Kalpavriksha basically monitors data from the field all the way to the optimization model. So we have 3 different modules for the project, that is data acquisition, workspace analysis and the optimization model. Data acquisition is where the actual data comes in from the field on site to the application. Workspace analysis is where you work on the data, and optimization model is wherein you predict what crop model for the entire year should be developed by the farmer. This is our application, Kalpavriksha.
This is where we divide the entire, region into zones, and depending on the zones, you can select clusters. Clusters are basic collection of the sites where the nodes are being deployed. So then you can select whichever basic nodes that you want to browse through. You can get a basic temperature or any graph, and it has GPS capability, so you can actually plot whichever region you're actually visiting.
Okay.
And then depending on the node, you can see the node details that you want to see. You can compare all the graphs. Say you can want to compare temperature with moisture, and you want to work with them. You can always put them in the workspace and look around with them. You can check the live monitors part. These live monitors part are done using the hardware.
Okay, see, these are called as modes.
Okay.
These are wireless sensor nodes. Each of the node have one sensor board and a wireless transceiver. On each of these nodes, there is a protocol implemented called XMesh. It's a self-healing, self-routing protocol.
Okay.
It's resilient to partial failures. I mean, once you form the mesh, if one node dies, then the other node will find its way back to the target in using any possible route.
It's cool, man.
Yeah, it's cool. These are super cool. This is the Stargate gateway. It's a single board computer. It houses a Xscale 400 MHz processor. It is right now running a Linux operating system.
That's cool.
That's super.
Then
what's happening? We have connected a similar transceiver over here. Now all these nodes, assume this to be an agricultural field.
Right.
All the data, the sensor data, is coming over here to the Stargate, which is say connected somewhere and line powered, and an Ethernet cable is pulled. Basically, you apply a fixed IP to this device. You give it a fixed IP. Then your live monitor, what it basically does is, using the Ethernet, it's right now connecting to the Stargate, picking up the live packets.
Okay.
And say you can see live charts for node 2. Right now the ambient light is showing it's around above 1800 lumens. So this node 2, I will hold it up like this, so the light is almost 0, and you will see a dip. I hope you see the dip if everything is working. Come on.
Okay, how does this work? A light dependent resistor, what exactly the components inside?
Okay.
Photo transistor.
It has a simple LDR.
Okay.
Temperature, again a thermistor for the temperature.
Okay.
And for the sound you have a microphone. Now you'll wonder why sound, ambient sound
Noise
for
pollution.
agricultural purpose. So actually these boards are MTS 300 boards. They were designed for environmental monitoring and wildlife habitat monitoring. So you can do DSP on these nodes. We have programmed them to send the packets, but we can program them to do DSP also, and I can know which bird is passing through my node. I can find out what's happening around the node, what kind of animals are going on. But this is not our target board. Our target board is MTS 400, which we couldn't bring, unfortunately.
Okay. So that's a peak, right?
Yeah, you saw that peak?
Yeah.
I'll show you, wait. Okay.
A sudden drop, right? Right here?
Yeah, see. And now,
got it.
We'll go back.
Got it.
Great.
That's cool, man. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
EcoPads in our software is adhesive. A drought in Australia, shortage of rice worldwide. Farm packages fails to stopped right now. The current food stock that we have is so less that it won't even last for 30 years. So our problem definition is concerned with these kind of major players. Now, creating a sustainable environment, that is the theme of humanity. To create a sustainable environment, we need to conserve the resources that we have right now. We need to derive the maximum benefit out of them, and also we need to preserve these resources for the future. And any threats that can be to these national resources, we need to tackle them in a systematic way. Now, the agriculture industry is far separated from technology, and this gap is wider, especially in developing countries like India. Due to unawareness, farmers keep on growing the same crops over many years, and this greatly affects the soil fertility. Also, Also, they go on adding excess fertilizers blindly, and this also decreases the soil fertility. They can always be a crop which can be best suited according to its land type, soil type, the nutrients that its soil already contains, and the nutrients required by a particular crop, and the temperature conditions of that place at the time of sowing, and many other agroclimatic conditions. The farmers are unaware of the crop which will be best suited according to all these conditions. Then also there can be a lot of enhancement by using hybrid varieties over normal varieties. But farmers have a lot of inhibitions about using the hybrid varieties. Also, they either don't use pesticides beforehand, or when the pest attacks their crop, then they go about finding a particular pesticide. So we will help in this aspect as well. Also, they are also often driven by the profit motive. For example, in Punjab and Haryana, paddy, the climatic conditions are not suitable for paddy cultivation. But the profit margin is so high that they go for paddy cultivation, and over the years, because of this, the underground water table has gone considerably. Now, if all these things keep happening, a crisis available to soil fertility will be exhausted because of the same crop that will be growing over and over. Then soil poisoning will take place, and water pollution will take place because of these fertilizers. Then a lot of wasteful irrigation practices are already being followed. This will create water shortage. Then food shortage, because the land is increasingly becoming barren and the yield is continuously decreasing on every week. Our solution, AgriSoft, it implements techniques that will help the farmers at all stages of farming. It will tell in the crops which are best suited according to land type, soil type, the nutrient requirements of the crop, the nutrient conditions of the soil, and the temperature at the time he's growing, and all the agricultural conditions. Then we tell him which fertilizer to use, at what phase of growing, how much quantity of the fertilizer is to be used according to his crop. We suggest him the irrigation methods for a particular crop, and what equipment he should use. Then after a particular crop is grown, certain soil conditions, changes in soil conditions come about, and certain nutrients are depleted, and we need to replenish those nutrients. So we provide him a proper crop rotation strategy after, like which crop should be grown after a particular crop, and so on, a proper strategy. Then about the possible pest attacks, we tell him about the pest attacks, about the phases of growing according to the location they need, and the pesticides corresponding. About any government aid about a particular crop, if it's there, we inform about that. Also, we continuously keep monitoring the weather conditions of a particular place, and we keep sending the farmer alerts about these conditions. For example, if rainfall is about to happen at a particular location, so we tell him if that he either not to irrigate his land on that particular day. So these kind of alerts we keep informed. Now, the 5 problems that I discussed, AgriSoft platform. Water shortage, as I said, we monitor the weather continuously. Then proper irrigation methods will be suggested for each crop. Then using hybrids always takes up less water than the normal varieties. So we emphasize on the use of hybrids. Then soil fertility will be saved because we suggested the crop on the basis of the most appropriate crop according to its soil conditions. Then proper use of fertilizers is prevented. Also, we providing the proper crop rotation strategy. Farmers even now they know about the crop rotation strategies, but they don't really implement it. We'll explain later how they'll use the software to implement crop rotation. Then water and soil pollution will be avoided by us telling them exactly what quantity to use. And emphasizing hybrids, it gives 10 to 20 to 30 times more yield as compared to the normal varieties. So we emphasize on hybrids, so food shortage can also be handled to some extent. This is a control flow graph for software. To begin with, the farmer registers himself on the computer centers in every village that we are planning to set up. Then he is asked to take a soil fertility test. We have test lab centers from where a particular person will come to take the sample of the soil, and the soil will be tested, and the report will be uploaded on a web service, which will further be used to calculate the nutrients that are there in the soil and which fertilizers should he use for a particular crop. Then crop mapping will be done according to his location, the weather conditions, agroclimatic conditions, land type, soil type, and all these things are taken into account, and a list of various final shortlisted crops are presented. Then after we simulate what soil conditions will be there after a particular crop is grown, what weather conditions will be there after this particular period of growth, and this is how we find out the next crop which will be most suitable for him. Then either he can take the soil fertility test again to find to go for the next crop, or he can follow our tradition. Then we provide him with cultivation guidance. Time to time we tell him that at this phase of growth, this is the fertilizer that you should be growing, and at this phase you need to, this is the possible pest that can attack your crop, so use this fertilizer at this stage. And according to the weather conditions also we tell him that if this is the temperature, then these pests can affect your crops. Then after the cultivation period is over, we have the actual data about what fertilizers he has added, what pesticides he has added. So we have the actual data now that we have about the crop and how it is grown. So now we can again simulate the fertility of the soil. And
okay,
again,
1 second. Can you just show me the technology directly? Directly your software.
The software.
Yeah, the software directly. I don't need any theory, please.
And then, like I for the proper growth of your crop.
Farmers cannot read stuff, so we have to give them audio and visual aid. So there was the introduction about what this application will do, and I have hard-coded. We hard-coded the. I mean,
So you want farmers to use computers?
What?
You want farmers to use computers in the sense farmers, villagers.
That's why you're explaining the whole thing. You said you'll go to that software directly. So you have to listen to the theory part to understand.
Yeah, got it, man. Got it.
Once he clicks the find fertilizer, I hard-coded the soil information. I'll show you how it is done. It says that you have to use DAP, 13.043 kg per hectare, and multiplied by its land. Then the next fertilizer you will be using for the crop will be NPK, and if there's any fertilizer, there are no other fertilizers that is needed for this crop. So here, there is a module which will find the fertilizer needed for the crop. I said it's in the place Kurukshetra KUK code, and farmer identity is FA1 and the crop identity is crop 2. So that means he is growing crop 2, farmer FA1 is growing crop 2 at the place Kurukshetra. So the details of these farmer, crop and the other things are found from our database, and the fertilizer database will give the details of the different fertilizers. So those database, those values are taken, and there is a small calculation from which we find the amount of what fertilizer needed for the particular crop. And next one is our pest thing. Here there's only we didn't create a big database. We just created a database for the pest of crop, rice crop. So when the farmer is cultivating rice crop and he comes to the software and he says some pest has attacked my crop, so he can't, we can find which pest has attacked, but we cannot tell him the biological name or some other name, because there are different pest names at different locations. So we show him the pic of the pest. So I say that find pest. It says that this is the pest, and it gives a small introduction, what will happen if this pest affects you. That will be read out by the software. And if he finds this is the pest, you can see the pest. If he comes to know this is the pest, he'll click it, and then we'll tell him what are the pesticides that will be.
This is cool, man. Awareness to a farmer, yeah.
And this is another pest. You can find the pest by seeing it, but you cannot recognize it by name. So these are two simple modules we have done, and if we consider the hindrances that we'll be facing in our software, the first one is farmers' language. We provide audio visual aid in their regional language. Then illiteracy. Farmers, we can't call them, there's a illiteracy about their own field also and about other things also. So what government do to bridge this gap is they conduct a lot of campaigns where they tell how to grow a particular crop in a best way. So if we video record all that, we are tying up with government, so we can video record all that, and if there is any regional language video to help him, we'll show that to him. For example, if the farmer is growing a rice crop and there has been a campaign conducted by government in the nearby place, and if the farmer missed it,
So he's missing a lot of information.
Yes.
So we can tell him there is a campaign going on here. I mean, you missed it. You can watch the video here if it is in his regional language. The next is the computer literacy. So you asked it, how the farmers are going to use this software. So text-free user interface. So you must have heard about it. Microsoft Research has developed an interface where there won't be any text at all for the illiterate people. Everything will be represented in picture, audio, video, or any other than text, any media other than text. So next, no technology reach in villages. India, there is a large gap between the villages and the technology. So we cannot tell that buy a laptop or buy a computer, load the software and use it for a production. That farmer will do that. So what we do is we establish kiosks at small possible villages where the farmers could go and register themselves and take the help of the software. And this can be done by our first. I mean, who will be the hosting the software? It could be government, NGO, or the private company. Next will be education to change old methods. So we spoke to the farmers in person and we asked them, why don't you change your cultivation practice? Like they just keep on growing paddy or wheat and they keep on rotating these two crops. We asked them, why don't we cultivate some other crop? They go like, because we won't get profit on cultivating other crops. We even suggested them like, if you go wheat and moong dal and then paddy, a small leguminous crop, which will fix some fertility inside to the soil back.
Okay.
So he said that there's no point growing moong dal. We don't get any, not much of profit. So we'll tell them what will be the effect if they keep growing the old crops. Like your soil will go barren in like this many years. We'll say that. And if you grow the crops we suggest, then maybe probably your fertility will be preserved for a long year. And the other reason why the farmers don't grow these kind of crops is that they don't find the buyers. I mean, for some crops there are, buyers, but they don't get in contact with the farmers. So we also act as an intermediate between the buyers and the farmers, so that whatever the farmer grows, that is environment friendly and it should be profitable to him also. And the other thing is data collection. So you can see, you can intuitively see that there's a lot of data involved in our software. And you go and search and Google what is the nutrition content needed for a crop. It will give a lot of details. So some of them are, we cannot rely upon those data. So we take data directly from the research stations. There are agricultural research stations at every district, and they do also research and they deal upon the whether to grow a new hybrid or not. So we take all those details and any update, any new hybrid that comes to India comes through the research stations. Before it comes to the market, research station tests them. So we directly get the data collected from the research station, and who lost the product, I already told you, it could be government, NGO or private companies. So to sum it up, AgriSoft will not only create a sustainable environment, but it will be a solution for major problems like famines and inflation and food crisis. AgriSoft will bridge the gap between agriculture and technology, and thereby our theme comes to imagining sustainable environment is achieved.
Just one more little thing. Everyone asks that who will host the software? Why will the farmers use the software? This is our business plan. We can sell our products as a product, or we can provide it as a service. Now, possible hosts can be the government or NGOs, or they can be private companies. Now, we have tie-ups with soil fertility test centers. Now, farmers will go to the test center and they will get the soil tested. So that is one source of revenue. Then fertilizer, seeds and pesticide dealers, we have tie-ups with them, so that is another source. Then advertisements from equipment dealers like irrigation equipment, even that is there. Then we have tie-ups with banks, which will provide loans to the farmers. Also, other sources of revenue can be we acting as intermediate between farmer and the bank. So this is the initial plan. Why will a farmer trust our software to grow a particular crop? Because we will provide him with the proper balance. And the last part is registration cost. If the farmer is not able to give registration cost, we let him use the software, and after he gets the profit, we take a nominal share of that.
That's cool.
Okay, the point again, what we can say is it will be profitable to farmer also in the way as in if we have a tie-up with some fertilizer shop, okay, he normally sells some product at 20 rupees, okay, but if we have a tie-up, so he'll give us at around 18 rupees we can say. So what we can do is we can sell the product to farmers, through us we'll be purchasing at 19 rupees.
Okay.
So totally if he go purchase out from outside, he'll be paying 20. He'll purchasing it through our channel will be 19. So it will be 1 rupee profit for us and 1 rupee we giving to the farmer. So again, farmer will definitely be.
And also the services will be provided at the doorstep to the farmer. He doesn't need to go to the centers or to buy fertilizer.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. All the best.
We are right now going to announce the top 3 teams who are going to make it to the finals of the Imagine Cup National Finals in India. And these teams will be presenting on stage to a panel of judges who will then select the winner, who would represent India as the software development team in France in July 2008. So without further ado, Rahul Kasura here will be making an announcement.
First of all, I would like a big round of applause for all the participants. I know it was lots of hard work that all of you have put in, and it's always very difficult for judges to pick the best teams out of the history. But we are supposed to do that. So I'm just going to announce the top 3 teams. They are not in any order. So can we just have all the teams come up? Just a few more announcements before I announce the teams. Also that we will start all the attendees here, the student attendees, the lunch has been arranged right across, so that's a lunch there. Even the teams who are participating should be having lunch there. For special delegates that we have here, I request they come all under each team announced. All students being renamed on the Delhi University. Team members are Rajesh Singh. You can go to raise your hands. Sandeep Mathur and Joseph Khanna. Every team is team notices their boss. Team members are Pranam Delia, Paras Doshi, Delhi Nayak, and Vedi Manmohan. Now the final team, Team Sam. This team happens to have people from 3 colleges. Gandhi Engineering College of Engineering Mumbai, Father from Seashore Roderick Institute of Technology Mumbai, and VIT Mumbai. Team members are Amit George, Tarun, Noel Tikora, and Sameer Singh Kadoria. Again, Ram Rayram.
I think the entire field of venture capital being available in the Indian context, I think has not taken off the way it probably has done in some of the other countries. So I think we need to have far more sort of venture capitalists supporting innovation and allowing people with ideas to convert them into commercial propositions and marketplace.
I'll come back to this point on the VC3 a little later. One of the, if you look at the other innovation ecosystems around the world, one of the key reasons for the success has been the strong industry academy of India, especially when you're looking at very competitive research. Now, if you look across India, I think one will struggle to find very sustainable industry academy initiatives which have resulted into commercially successful innovation. Given that you're running one of the new institutes in India, young institutes in India, Your thoughts on developing industry technology?
I think you are bang on target when we say that the kind of industry academy and interchange, exchange we have in this country, these orders of magnitude lower than what you find in most countries, even countries like Singapore. There are many reasons, let me not get into it. I think the first and foremost reason was that they were kind of suspecting each other. Academics had such a low value about the folks in the industry, and industry folks had no faith that we will ever deliver. Okay? And probably both of us had a part of it was also true, because that was how we were. Okay? But that is changing now. And that is changing now for many reasons. One is industry is opened up, and industry is getting globally competitive. And second thing is that I think the fact that we are too insulated for too long, the academics, they are also kind of feeling that we have to come out of the cage. Okay? And we are slowly coming. So in that sense, I would say, particularly in areas like in IT or biotechnology, so these emerging areas, things are actually happening. I would say the first two steps are being taken. How long it will take for us to run, something we have to wait and see. But I would say that we have started the handshake, we have started taking a few steps. There have been some, particularly I'll give one example, the broad semiconductor microprocessor, electronic design area, the IIT Kharagpur, the EDA industries. It's a classic example, but things have actually happened for the last 5 years. So, as an incorrigible optimist, I think it will happen.
We spoke about this academia, but the other end of the chain is the management of innovation. Again, maybe I'm wrong, but you get a feeling that in India, a lot of the Indian firms, we get innovation is something people wait for. Serendipity based, where people from the MNC belong to. Innovation is people, it's just any other process. You make innovation happen. So your thoughts on the whole serendipity-based innovation versus process-driven innovation? Is it okay if I also address some of the earlier questions?
Being there for us and helping us out. He's our constant mentor. Please come on stage. Thank you, Samit, for coming all the way to Bangalore to really cheer us up and having so much faith in us. And all of us would like to thank our parents, our institute for helping us so much, and our institute has really been a great help. And our other college teams that have been here, you all rock, and we do. Thank you. To come up with this solution, we thought there were already existing systems, but we kind of thought, provide extensibility, give a crutch to the sixth man of Indian economy, agriculture, as was said before. And it was a great experience, and all I want to say is that we really hope the solution is put into practice, is really implemented, because we are in need of it. There's like 43% of the land in India is given for agriculture, and the output is not as much, and it's a sad thing. So we really want to put this idea into implementation, and we really hope we may do well in the international finals. Thank you.
I think you should be rest assured that it will be implemented. You talk to me. I'll get it implemented very soon.
Thank you very much.